Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Swain Batty League Season 10. I am 30, joined tonight by the always so handsome AJS Zero. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing really good, man. I am so excited to be coming back at all of our great SBL fans with my fellow Pong Expo 2017 runner-up support 30 to
Y-
bring you guys League of Legends casting at the highest level.
yes, only the highest level here at the Batty League, and we're going to jump right in tonight into Game 1 of Season 10 here. And earlier today, I posted all of the six wonderful creative team names, and Game 1 here, it's going to be between the four eggplants owned by Think Twice, going up against Cammer's Dick Suck Squad, owned by UTech. And yeah, Cammer's on that one.
That's gonna be really rough for this team for eggplants because clearly they don't think highly of somebody on that starting roster. Um, because one of them is not an eggplant. There's not enough eggplant to go around on that team. And I think over the course of the season, we may figure out who the non eggplant is. A big storyline to watch going forward.
Yeah, a big storyline that I'm not even quite sure what it means. And I'm sitting at the edge of my chair waiting to find out
Is
what
that
that even
fear I
means.
smell?
Yeah, we've been promised a big reveal as the season goes on, but we are into our draft here between these two teams, and
I'm
this should be a
absolutely livid.
very exciting matchup to start things off. I think both of these teams are potentially championship caliber with a lot of questions to answer.
Yeah, that is for sure. So on the blue side, we have the four eggplants. Sword and Mace gonna be in the top lane. The Master Splinter. I don't even know how many SBL championships this guy's won. In the jungle, Tibestus won. Now this is a name most new viewers probably have never heard of.
Yeah, if you weren't following the 10 greatest players in SBL history, or you weren't around 3+ years ago when this guy was still playing in the SBL, this guy was a monster mid laner, and there's been a lot of hype here for his comeback. First SBL season he's played in since season 4. This guy has not played since we had 4 teams in the league, and if he's as good as he was back then, he is going to be challenging as one of the best mid laners in the league, which is going to be one of the huge storylines this split with Thrifty Senpai finally retiring.
Yeah, that's a legacy ended. Maybe a legacy renewed someday in the future, but who
And
knows?
there have been a lot of people telling me in the practice games that this man is back. But going closing out the rest of that roster, we've got Crystallize and Sensory GG going to be taking up the bot lane. And over on the Dick Suck squad, a lot of rookies as Cameron has recruited his Dick Suck squad in with him. Top laner Frag, mid laner ZZ, Death Reaper ZZ, along with former SBL MVP Thermidor, and of course Cameron in the bot lane with Albino Joe rounding things out.
Albino Joe, back again, supporting in the bot lane, supporting one of the greatest AD carries we've seen in the league so far. We'll see how that matches up here, but we're already through the first ban phase here. Katarina Ram is singed for the eggplants, and Vladimir Cho'Gath Sejuani for the Suck Squad. Pretty standard stuff across the board, but uh,
Uh, uh, no, I was just thinking to myself about how it's crazy that we see some semblance of meta bans, at least champions people play getting banned by the Dick Suck squad, and 3 very, very pocket picks being banned by the 4 eggplants. And that is just one of those beautiful things that streams SBL. Clearly, we've had some scouting coming out of 4 eggplants here.
yeah, for the Katarina ban, that obviously it's not. There's no Sinister Beyblade in this game, so obviously targeted at the mid lane, Death Reaper, DZ, and looks like Master Splinter. He's gonna pick up that Hecarim, is his famed Hecarim here for the first game.
Are you certain?
Yeah, so unfortunately that is a client bug, guys. So I can't. I think I can kind of see. And I mean, you can make assumptions too on what kind of summoner spells these guys are bringing. You know, jungler's gonna bring smite. Top laner's probably gonna bring teleport. Uh, so we'll see if I can try to fix that before the next game here. But we are in the second ban phase now. LeBlanc coming from the Dick Suck squad, answered by a Maokai from the 4 Eggplants. So potentially a lot of top lane bans here. I assume the Ram is obviously targeted at Thermidor, but Singed and Maokai being taken out of Freg's champion pool.
Yeah, as always with these rookies, you never really can be sure what to expect. I don't know if these guys had pre-med experience. So a lot of the time, Frag going to be one of the higher rated players on that team. I mean, there's going to be a lot of high rated players on that team with Cammer being involved, but maybe they think Frag can only play a few picks, or they're just real scared of those top lane tanks. But it is pretty crazy to see some of these, what I would call typical sword and mace champs being banned by the 4 Eggplants.
Yeah, I mean, what is really left? A lot of, like you said, the Malphite and Maokai were pretty much his champions last season.
Yeah, especially that Malphite. We know Master Splinter is a big fan of putting his tank players onto it. So we'll see here. The final rotation going to be coming out from 4 Eggplants, so we won't have to wait too long to know the answer there.
And Cammer locks in the Vayne, and I'm trying to still get caught up here on the current meta game. Vayne is an ADC I really haven't seen in a very long time.
No, this is not something you're going to see in your professional streams. Don't expect Vayne to get picked at Worlds, but I do think this pick makes some sense here from Cammer. He's obviously going to be trying his hardest to hard carry this game, and there's going to be a massive skill discrepancy between Cammer and Crystallize in this bottom lane.
Yeah, the one could say that there is a very big discrepancy, and it's going to be a Trist Janna bot lane. Very meta, very very meta these days. Trist, one of the power picks for ADCs, and Janna is Janna, highest win rate support, Ardent Sensor, OP, all that jazz, and answered by another true support in Soraka, Albino Joe. Zaz played it in the past. I know he played it a lot, maybe a couple seasons ago.
Yeah, Janna was always one of Albino Joe's more well-known picks. Doesn't necessarily synergize super well with that composition, which worries me.
The Soraka.
Sorry,
Yeah.
the Janna. All right, the I got my teams mixed up. Welcome back to the SBL.
Yeah, folks, we're going in dry. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about with these picks. So, Albino Joe on the Soraka Vayne. What a strange lane. I am not going to be too high on the natural synergy in that one.
Yeah, it's a little odd. I can only imagine that the Soraka was really just an answer to Janna, just so the Vayne can stay healthy and try to sustain this lane that potentially she might get bullied out of with Tristana. I mean, Tristana not having the most powerful early game herself, but she can get ahead and start bullying around the Vayne.
Yeah, the problem with the Vayne Soraka lane is it's a super hard losing lane. You would pretty much never want to pick that against a bot lane that's going to be able to give you any kind of a run for your money, but I don't think that's a concern for Cameron Albino Joe in this game. And going back to the Vayne pick, I actually think in this situation that could have been a really smart pick out of Cameron, as Tristana, if you're the way better AD carrier than your opponents and you're up against a Tristana, they're going to have a really hard time not just giving you over a free lane freeze, since Tristana automatically pushes the lane with the E explosions. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see Cammer doing some manipulation in bot lane and accruing a huge CS lead out of it.
Yeah, and that's a champ. Once he gets really big on, this game could sort of blow open, become very easy. Able to shred down the tanks, the front line, and Jarvan and Hecarim coming out of the 4 Eggplants. The only concern here is Tibestus one. I mean, he's kind of the ace in the hole for the Eggplants here. Kassadin, a champion that can become very powerful in his own right, especially in the late game, can have very easy access to the squishy backline. Corki, Vayne, Soraka, all very very squishy. You see Waiting for spectator delay, NAN.
Yes, I do. We see spectators in a good place as always.
I really hope we load in here.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's just a timeout. Can you
Yeah.
still not pull up your friends list while you're in a lobby?
Uh,
Doesn't doesn't seem like it.
Nope.
All right, well, that's a feature.
Yeah. So I guess going over the lineups again. Just talking about the top and jungle synergy for both of these teams. I mean, Sword and Maze Smash Splinter, they were on the same team last season. Correct me if I'm wrong there.
Yes, this is the
Yes.
third split in a row they've been a
Wow.
pair.
See, I knew it was a lot. I knew they've played together quite a bit. So I mean, the gank setup in the top lane, a lot of natural synergy there with the Hecarim and Jarvan. Looking for something early, I assume as well. But on the other side of the coin, you have Darius and Shyvana. Shyvana, obviously not the greatest ganker, having no hard CC in her kit, but Darius also not the greatest. I mean, he can try to set up for his jungle the best he can, but it's just one ability there with the pull in. It's really just about the damage coming out of those two, and it's a matter of whether they can scale up and get to that team fight, that phase, and use all that damage they have. Whoa, that's a quick load in. So luckily, everything's working. We're in here on the Rift for Game 1 of Season 10.
Yeah, so looking over these summoner spells on the red side in case you were not able to see them in spectator issues, we've got Barrier coming out in the mid lane and a pretty normal heal exhaust coming in the bot lane for the SUCC squad. And obviously, you were able to see summoners before, but you missed it. We've got double teleport coming out of 4 egg plants, ignite coming from the Soraka in the bot lane. And a real dank Season 3 Evil Geniuses icon coming from Crystallize.
Wow, nice. Some people don't even know. They've never even heard of that esports organization. I bet they just follow League. I should say. Yeah, they're big in other games, but yeah, that's quite a throwback. Rip, Repo.
Rip indeed.
Yeah.
Careful with your dick pic, boys.
Yeah.
And hopefully that's a lesson Cameron's not going to learn the hard way this season. You know, you're the Dick Suck squad, you're kind of playing with fire there.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we're really come full circle. The Dick Suck squad. I mean, it was just an idea, and then it was a group in Twitch chat, and now it's a whole team in the SBL.
Yeah, a lot of pressure on Cameron. He cherry picked these teammates. You know, he got his boys, and if this does not work out, I think Cameron is going to find out the full brunt of what the expectations on SBL star players can be like.
Yes, and it can be a lot, to say the least here. And it looks like pretty passive startings for both teams here, just protecting their jungle paths.
Yeah, real quick, one starting item I want to hit on is up in this top lane. We've got Sword and Mace did opt for the refillable potion, whereas Freg went for the Doran's Blade on the Darius, so we could see some all-in potential out of Freg in the top lane early.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, on a champion like Darius, he might especially be looking for that. And he is one of the higher ranked players, as you noted earlier in the champ select this season.
That is actually not correct. Freg is only gold 4.
Oh, really? Oh, he's platinum. Oh, but he's going in. He plays like a platinum player because he picks up the first blood on Sword and Mace before they even hit level 2.
That should never happen.
He had the corrupting no stacks were used, or they might have already refilled because he hit the pad so quickly.
Yeah, but he didn't use his flash. I don't know what kind of setup you can have happen that you can get solo kill at level 1 in any lane in League of Legends.
Yeah, I mean, do you remember Red Pot start days with Riven? Yeah, so I mean that was a thing back then, but yeah, nowadays, Season 7 here of League of Legends, that is a very uncommon occurrence. See what he can do to try to salvage this lane here. Both the junglers are in this topside river. Dormidor has Splinter beat out though, so he's going to be able to protect his laner and Freg.
Yeah, and one player we haven't talked about much, Thermidor, he's got to be super happy to see one of his lanes snowballing early, because not as much hype as you'd expect them to be on Thermidor, former SBL MVP, but the guy's currently sitting in Plat 3, you know, so he's holding a decent ranking, picking one of his old go-tos, the Shyvana. And we've seen the games where when he's able to just sit in his jungle and farm out for long periods of time, what a monster he turns into in the late game. And with his top lane already snowballing, you know, that's going to be less pressure on him to cover up Shyvana's weaknesses and do the ganks that he can't really do.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, with Swordmates being down so much and Splinter maybe having to stay up there and protect him, he might have free reign on the bottom side of his jungle. Vayne and Soraka not really able to do much. I mean, sorry, Ajana and Tristana not able to do much to protect the jungle.
So we see Cameron going in aggressive in the spot lane, and meanwhile in the top lane, Freg going all in on Swordmates, but Master Splinter is showing up, and Freg is a long way from his tower, getting knocked up against that wall, and Swordmates picking up a return kill up there. And welcome to the SBL, Freg. You know, you had a nice solo kill to start things, but that's Master Splinter. You cannot push on that man without wards.
Yeah.
And his third split running, he knows to gank for his boy Sword and Mace.
Yeah, that is true, and Crystal is doing a little bit of trading there with Cameron, but so far all of the action, all of the gold gained has really been in the top lane here. But a slight gold advantage already for the Dick Suck squad. Not too much, but probably just based off the CS discrepancies in the mid and bottom lane. But surprisingly, Swordmate's pulling out to a CS lead of his own.
Yeah, Freg didn't really manage to do anything with that solo kill from level 1. He should have been able to turn that into something. And instead he just turns it into being ganked and killed. And now he is down in that lane. Looking across the board here, one lane I'm a little surprised going is close as it is in the mid lane. Bestest One has been holding pace with Death Reaper this whole time. Not something you'd expect in a Kassadin lane.
Yeah, especially against one of the premier lane.
Although we gotta watch out in this top lane. Swordmace, you are running away from your turret, my friend. He's going for the knockup onto Freg. And oh, it was actually a bait because Master Splinter coming straight out of the river. Freg taking a lot of damage in this river bush. Freg trying to get a kill, but not finding that Master Splinter putting himself on the board with that one.
Ooh, man, they got Freg all tied up in this mind game, man. Sword Mace, a masterful bait, perhaps. Splinter coming through river once again, and no wards. Looks like the trinket cooldown was used.
Yeah, I'm thinking that. Oh, but we might not have a chance to. His Bestest One coming in this mid lane drops half of Death Reaper's health off there.
Yeah, I mean, to go back to this mid lane though, this is very surprising. I was gonna say Corki, a premier lane bully in the mid lane. He has so much damage packed in early to his ability.
And Kassadin, a premier lane loser.
Yeah, exactly. So it's two opposites matched up here in the mid lane. It even has a Sheen already for Death Reaper's Corki.
Yeah, and Bestest One, he is in a great situation right now. Not only up health, but up a lot of mana as well, as he is just chunking out the Death Reaper, who has no sustain left.
Yeah, that Catalyst will really work the levels for Bestest One, as he'll keep getting more health and mana. It's staying in lane and just to keep farming this one out, man. He's just looking for that mid game to late game power spike on this Kassadin. And once he has that teleport up, he can be a split push monster.
Yeah, Death Reaper, he's really playing with fire with that barrier.
Oh, barrier's popped. Bestest One going back in. The rocket's gonna miss though. And yeah, Death Reaper, he's not gonna play with that anymore. And he's
but here comes Splinter from below. This is pre-made, my friends.
Yes.
The jugglers think they caught it. Master Splinter gets a third kill for his team, second for himself.
just a great capitalization there from Splinter to realize that he had a back there, and Splinter's been all over the map on the ganking path here on Hecarim. 2-0-1 for himself. Meanwhile, Thermidor, I guess playing the Thermidor style, right? I mean, he's, like you said earlier, he's played Shyvana a lot, one of his mainstays in SBL history, and he's just power farming it up.
He's farming like a motherfucker, and despite being 2 kills and 1 assist less, only down 100 gold on Master Splinter currently.
Wow, yeah, that's the power of fast jungle clear there, and he's going for that upgrade that allows him to clear the jungle faster.
Yeah, and you know, this game, he might not admit it publicly, but I do feel like this is a very personal game for Master Splinter. I think that's the case every time he plays against Thermidor. I imagine Master Splinter thinks the idea of another jungler having ever won an MVP in this league is not something he would agree with. He would put a lot of that on Thermidor's teammates from that season. But we might not have a chance to talk about that, as Cameron is taking a lot of damage in spot lane, but no, Crystallize and Sensory not going to be able to follow up. Janus or Rocket lanes, you can't chase on that.
Yeah. Hammer, he did playing pretty aggressive with this Vayne. Oh, meanwhile, Ocean Drake, yep, soloed by Shyvana, and that's just something that jungler is able to do. They had the vision, and they assumed maybe Splinter was back in the base. But meanwhile, in the mid lane, Bestis one, he went on a Death Reaper. Frag walks down from the top lane and gets the last hit there, picks up another kill for the SUCC squad.
Yeah, and that'll nearly even him out gold-wise with Sword Mace up in that top lane. A big play. But Bestis one probably not going to have to be too panicked here. Kassadin's one of those lanes where you have a lot of leverage on how far behind you can be, and he is way ahead of schedule in this mid lane.
Yeah, and I was saying before, Camer on this Vayne, 84 CS to 59, and he's playing as far up as he really wants to. He goes in for the trades, and sure, he gets disengaged with the tornado, but the damage has been done, and with the Soraka by his side, he will always stay topped off.
Yeah, and he's been slow and methodical in this lane as he gets another Silver Bolts proc on the Crystallize. Just always been in slight control, content to play this out for the CS lead. So that, 27 currently. That's a moderate CS lead in 10 minutes. But Crystallize and Sensory GG probably content not to just be giving up duo kills, which Cameron has always had a knack for getting. As Bestis one maybe looking for the return kills. Master Splinter coming out of the river. There's a flash on his easy Death Reapers, but he's got a long way to go. He's getting under his tower, but I don't think that's going to be enough. As Bestis one with the Q gonna finish him off.
Oh man, I am so excited. I am so glad to be cast in the SBL again, because this early game, it's going back and forth, but look at the gold. It's still relatively close, so that means at least we're going to have a somewhat exciting mid-game. A lot of exciting team fights, and in true SBL fashion, there's some players on each team that are just getting pretty huge. Splinter on the eggplants, and then Camer. I mean, no kills for him, but the CS lead he's accruing. Vayne always scales very nicely.
Yes, I am getting somewhat worried for 4 eggplants. I do think they're the team that's on a bit of a timer here. Thermidor is getting massive, and Camer is getting massive. And if we get late enough into this game and those two haven't been slowed down, I really just don't see a way for 4 eggplants to win fights without forcing really huge plays out of nothing. But that has always been a special for every team Master Splinter has been on.
Yeah, that's true, and he always finds a way to pull it off. Obviously, some semblance of shot calling, or really just leadership, as an experienced SBL veteran, always cools his team down, and they really make it through the mid game and finish out and win a lot of games.
Yeah, Sword finally starting to feel pretty confident up in this top lane. He's going in on Freg finally, but Freg turning it around. Both these top laners just chunk themselves down to half for fun. And
Oh
I'm
yeah.
picking up the Riptail. This is good. They want to, I'm guessing, go launch that down the mid lane, where Bestis really isn't going to be able to do much to stop a Riptail. This is the Kassadin.
True, yeah. There's no tower that they've damaged a whole lot. So yeah, mid lane probably just the preferred one being, you know, that go-to express lane. But meanwhile, top lane, Swordmaze lays down the Cataclysm onto Frag, and he's locked inside with the Hecarim, and Splinter on a killing spree, 3 kills for him at 13 minutes.
Yeah, I know we were I was just talking about being afraid for Cameron and Thermidor getting big, but we might not have a chance. No, Death Reaper's not going to be in too much danger there. But Frag on this Darius, he's not going to do anything this game at this point. He's missed his window as a Darius, and at this point, he's going to have to probably just commit to going full tank to back up the rest of the threats on his team. And we'll see if he knows enough to do this, but Thermidor come up to the top lane, Frag popping his teleport. They're going for a chase here, as directed camera spoiling the outcome of this fight for us, cutting to bot lane, as essentially she takes a lot of damage down there.
Oh, there's nothing to see there. Thermidor, though, he does use the Dragon Form to get in there and repel off the eggplants from the top lane. So really just diverting some tower damage there. Frag probably didn't even need to teleport there. But
they could be in a good position because they're putting a lot of damage down onto this turret in the top lane. Sword and Master Splinter were both pretty chunked out. Sword going to use his teleport. Master Splinter's here to engage if they want to push this tower. As Sword's going forward, puts a nice little trade onto Darius there. And the tower going to be held by 4 eggplants.
Yeah, so much action in this top lane. It really is. It's a 2v2 on the top side of the map. Sure, there's been some action in the mid lane, but it's all about the wave manipulation and tower damage in this top lane. There's Frag, and there it is, the Rift Herald summoned by Thermidor. So they boom.
Red team has destroyed the first turret. First brick going over to Thermidor right there. And Albino Joe, maybe a long way from home. He gets knocked up by the Soraka. Crystallize jumping in. Soraka and the Summoner heal coming out. And now maybe Crystallize is a little too deep. Ignite goes down on a Cameron, though, but Cameron is tucking tail and backing off for maybe the first time in his career. But I don't think he's in danger. But he's not going to commit on turning this forward, even though we just knew both the junglers. Actually, I guess it has been a while since the junglers went in see, but no! Cameron coming forward again. Cameron forcing the flash on Sentry. Now he's flashing himself. A knock away from Crystallize coming out. A lot of healing coming out on Sentry. GG as the Tristana is trying to lay down the auto attacks, but Cameron's going to secure the kill. Crystallize going for a reset. He needs to kill Albino Joe to get out of here. Master Splinter is in, coming for it, and he's gonna take out Cameron. 1 for 2 for 4 eggplants.
Oh man, it's that. Sword and Mace, he comes down from the mid lane here, misses the flag and drag onto the Death Reaper. Vestus one incredibly low, but Thermidor picks up that last kill onto Crystallize. And the chase might continue here. Vestus one over the wall with the Kassadin. The damage is coming through. The barrier is popped by Death Reaper, but Sword and Mace gonna pick up the kill. Oh boy, that bot lane exchange though. The Crystallize and Sensory GG, they see their window. They go in on Albino Joe, he flashes out, but if you don't kill the Soraka in one go, she's gonna sustain it all back, and Camer going back onto the aggressive picks up a kill for himself. And Master Splinter all over the map like he has been the entire game, 4-0-2 on the Hecarim.
Yeah, it is funny how this game is playing out in pretty much both teams' preferred styles, with Master Splinter forcing the kills ever. But Sentry GG is a long way from where he wants to be against the Vayne. This is gonna be an easy pickup for Camer. As Thermidor looking over the wall, maybe for the kill secure, but Cameron gets it off the tumble, and that was a mistake that could not be afforded.
Yeah, I mean, they were already in the Dragon Pit. Thermidor he has a lockdown on this dragon this game. It's gonna be a double Ocean Drake, and that's pretty insane for sustain. They have a Soraka on top of that. That's actually just nightmare fuel. Oh god.
Yeah, I would not want to be playing against that.
Oh man, yeah. And it's a matter of what they're going to do with the double Ocean, right? Like, this team, honestly, not the greatest team fighting, so I think they're just going to set up maybe like a 1-3-1 or some kind of split push scenario with some siege in there. But Crystallize maybe baiting Camer back in, Splinter waiting in the wings. Death Reaper, though, with the package over the top, picks up Crystallize. And now we got the Clown Fiesta in the bot lane. Vestus one picks up the return onto Camer, but the jungler for Eggplants, Master Splinter, is shut down for the first time this game. Turned around once again. Will Thermidor come out on top? Sentry GD with the support, with the tornado disengage Kassadin with the rip walk out, and they will stay alive.
Oh, the great escape there. I cannot believe that was only a 2 for 2, but Thermidor still in his ultimate form. They're gonna walk forward and take the straight. And Sentry don't hear that. Knocks up the Corki mid-dash there, but it's still going to be a turret taken over. That's a 2-0 turret lead now for the SUCC squad. And we're officially in the mid game.
Yeah, 3K gold lead for the Dick Suck squad. 2 towers, 2 dragons. Down in kills though, but obviously in League of Legends that's not the important factor. Map control and ultimately killing the enemy nexus is what matters, and they do have the bot lane freed up, bot and top I should say. So some nice split push opportunities open for the Suck squad.
Yeah, as they're going to put some big damage on this mid lane. Or maybe not. Real quick, just want to give a jungler update here while we have a moment. Thermidor currently up 1,000 gold on Master Splinter due to that 50 CS lead he's sitting on.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Looking at other gold discrepancies across the board, obviously Cameron on the Spain has 1,000 gold lead as well. But as far as that goes, those are the biggest discrepancies on the map.
One item I'd like to talk about when we maybe have a chance. Crystallize starting off with the Blade of the Ruin King on Tristana. That's not currently what you're seeing out of AD carries. That's just not good. Not good in the current meta, not good in the current situation. Not sure what he was going for. Maybe a lot of respect being paid to Thermidor, and he's expecting to have to chunk through him in team fights. But the BF Sword starts item meta has been pretty secure for a while now for AD carry. And AD carry typically the role with the least options in your builds. So
Yeah.
I think because Crystallize and Sensory GG, they played this bot lane out a lot better than I think a lot of people thought they were going to. Obviously, Vayne, Soraka not going to put down a ton of pressure, but they were able to throw some punches at Cammer, and until really the mid game started, we never saw them taking any serious damage. But it looks like Eggplants want to go charging in here. Death Reaper is going to go flying up, but Frag maybe being caught out in no man's land, trying to get bursted, but no, it's actually Thermidor is going to be the target. His Dick's Rock Squad is chasing forward on 4 Eggplants here. Thermidor is so massive, and they're forcing so many flashaways out of the 4 Eggplants. Woo. No deaths, but this should be red side control granted over to the Suck Squad at the least, as they're going to go on to this tier 2 bot lane.
Yeah, Suck Squad, they cut down through that red side jungle, and Eggplants, they had their eyes on the Death Reaper, and they failed the catch there, and both teams just sort of awkwardly meet on the top side of the red jungle there, and they both disengage successfully, but like you said, with the map control, the pushing lane, and the bot tower already down, it's going to be a tier 2 going over to the Suck Squad.
Yeah, this team gold lead, you know, a little over 3,000 at this point. That's a lead, but this is the SBL. But they are doing it with some very powerful late game champs on the team, so they should be feeling very good with where they're at. And they're still playing around with these 2 Ocean Drakes still this early in the game. Gives them a lot of options for what they want to do as a team.
Yeah, and Thermidor on the Shyvana picks up the Knight's Vow, and I can only assume that's going to be put onto Cammer. So with a champion that usually isn't the supportive type, he's itemizing towards that, putting a lot of support onto that Cammer Vayne. But I mean, let's talk about Bestest One here. Master Splinter in the Bestest One, obviously the players on the 4 Eggplants are pretty far ahead here. 173 CS for Bestest One. Is a 500 gold lead on top of Death Reaper, and he's now finished the Lich Bane with the 10 stacks on Rod of Ages in the Sorcerer Shoes. So he is someone potentially to be feared.
Yeah, we've been paying a lot of respect to Cammer's plays so far, and you know Thermidor is going to be tough to kill, but Bestest One and Master Splinter are at a point in the game where they can still maybe jump through a team fight and go for Cammer, but we maybe see something break out in this bot lane, and Swordmace has to jump away. A miscommunication, it looked like, from the team there.
Yeah, Dragon's up in 13 seconds, so both teams vying for the position. The control ward, though, for the Suck Squad in the pit, so they currently have the river control. Cammer in the bot lane, gonna push that lane out, but it's gonna be a 5-man stack from Eggplants and a low mid tower, and that's gonna go down. Frag maybe stepping a little bit too close here, and now the engages are coming out of the Eggplants, Cataclysm, and the Hecarim ult, and they pick up Frag and Albino Joe there in the mid lane.
Oh man, that was so rough. Watching Thermidor stand behind all 5 of the Eggplants and then realizing the fight had already been lost and backing away into his jungle. That was just such stereotypical Master Splinter, where a lot of SBL teams are scared to pull the trigger in situations like that. The second they see Frag overstay as welcome, they go in. Albino Joe sticking around, trying to help his support out, goes down with him, and now that's going to turn into a first dragon of the game for the 4 Eggplants. They've equalized about half of this gold lead, and they're going to finally be able to establish some deeper vision control for the first time in a while.
Yeah, and flying back in terms of map control and just raw stats, the Windrake obviously going to benefit Hecarim immensely. Probably one of the most synergistic champions with that Windrake. But really just all of the team members for Eggplants, they're looking for the catches. They're looking to take out those squishy damage dealers, Corki or Vayne, or even Thermidor, Shyvana. I mean, he is kind of itemizing towards that tankiness, but taking him out can mean a big team fight win.
Looking like this mid-tier 1 finally going to fall for the 4 Eggplants as Bestest One's jumping out. Splinter posturing around like he wants to fight his mid. Camera goes a little too deep. Camera, what are you doing? Pulls all of the healing out of his team. Now actually Camera may have kited out of this one. Thermidor forcing the 4 Eggplants back. His Sword Mace was going a little too deep there. A shutdown for the Shyvana. And that's just Soraka in action. You think you have the pick, and suddenly Cameron's sitting at 75% health.
That's double. Yeah, that's just Soraka double ocean. The heal hasn't even been used for Camera, and the engage comes through. Bestest One and Splinter both go down there, and now it's a complete rout for the Eggplants. Crystallize and Sensory have to do their best against 5 strong in the mid lane here as they go for the inhibitor tower.
Yeah, this should be an easy take. This is a double AD carry team pushing through 4 Eggplants base. Gonna be the first inhibitor going down, and they're in a good position with some side waves depending on what they want to do next. It looks like they are gonna make the rotation over towards the top lane tier 2, get 1 extra tower while they're in the neighborhood.
Yep, wave was already there. Not a lot to do there to defend that tier 2 at this stage of the game when you're this far behind, like the 4 Eggplants are. And you know, make that a 7k gold lead for the Dick Suck squad. A little over 25 minutes here. Baron's probably next on the plate, but they don't want to bait themselves into it. There is still a good amount of AoE engage from... Oh, they're standing on the ward. In the Pixel Brush.
Oh, this could be an engage for
they're
the 4
baiting this one out,
Eggplants.
though, because they know this. They have to... Yeah, oh, there it is!
Yeah, there goes Master Splinter. Charging in, and Thermidor getting chunked out early, but now he is charging onto the backline. But a shutdown on the Shyvana, and now a turn for the 4 Eggplants. They've traded Sword Mace's life for 3 with a double kill going on to the Tristana. That is no smite available for the Suck squad, and this might be too early for the Baron play.
Oh no, but they have to go for it. I feel like they have to. They feel very pressured into this. I mean, with 3 down on the Suck squad.
Death Reaper does finish that recall, and now it is just Camera trying to stop a Baron take 1 versus 4. Will he add to his legacy of just massive outplays as this Baron is going down fast? If Camera wants to do something, he's just getting the Rift Scuttle, and that's going to end up being Baron going over to the 4 Eggplants.
Wow, it just, oh man, this is such a rookie mistake. The Death Push, no sweep, no control ward, nothing. You know, they sort of sealed their own fate there.
That's bad. That is just straight bad. And if we see the 4 Eggplants come back in this game, I think that is going to haunt the Suck squad.
Yeah, 7k gold lead I was just talking about, even, or I guess down to 4k, not evened out quite yet. But with the Baron buff on the 4 Eggplants, they kind of have the momentum going into this. At least they have some refuge to push out these lanes and try to get map control back for the impending Drake, which is going to be an Infernal.
Yeah, I don't think either of the teams are going to want to give that one over without a fight. Infernal, obviously, pretty important dragon.
Yeah. Yep. And item update here. We got Crystallized finishing the second one. Static Shiv. So a lot of attack speed. A little bit of extra wave clear though in Static Shiv as well, which will surely benefit them as they start pushing in here. Yep, and Splinter in the bot lane, he takes out a low tier 1, and they have the wave, and they're gonna meet up for the tier 2 bot lane.
Alright, here we go. The big Baron Siege coming out as this tower gets chunked away fast. Freg looking like he wants to hold this turret. Realizing he better just back the hell out of there, actually.
Well, that is a language I've never seen. The Twitch chat, help.
Yeah, the SBL going international.
Yeah. What if we have should we recruit an international team? Like we bring in like actual like people who don't speak English, some like straight up from another country, and bring them in as the 6th like international import team.
I think we should offer to pay that CS:GO player, the one from Immortals, that threatened to kill a guy. I think that would be a perfect SBL branch into another country. Myself.
A Brazilian Counter-Strike player.
Oh no, the blast code! Frank gets separated from his team, but not gonna end up being punished for it. But the Infernal Dragon has spawned as Frank is doing a good job of zoning, but now maybe a bit far from where he wants to be. But this is an Infernal that's going down fast. Nashville are going in, but Thermidore's win secure, but this could be a gigantic
oh!
As Cameron once again kiting back, putting down big auto attacks. We already see 2 of the 4 rank blasts falling as they are in a bad place. Cameron pushing this fight forward. That's 4 kills for the SUCC squad. Only Crystallized alive, but Thermidor and the Courtney flashing over this wall. In a blink of an eye, Ace comes out of the SUCC squad, and they already have the supers in the base. That's going to be the GG's called.
Yeah, the straight team Ace or the Dick SUCC squad. The engage though, the catch camera was in the Cataclysm. They had Master Splinter, Sword and Mace, and Bessus One all jump on him, but he was able to get out, flash heal, Soraka, Double Ocean, and he stays alive. And with all the resources committed on camera, his team finishes the rest. And Dick SUCC squad picking up the first win of Season 10 of SBL.
Yeah, and that's really the story of that game, is the camera escape happening twice. There were 2 what would have been game-changing picks in almost any situation, but with the Soraka, camera under no threat at all makes it out both times. And, yeah, we really just saw that team be what it could be, with Cameron and Thermidor putting down so much threat in the front and back line, respectively.
Yeah, who do you think we should talk to here? I'm thinking Cameron or Thermidor.
I think it has to be Cameron.
Yeah. All right, let's get that boy up in here.
Cameron.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Congrats. Yeah, there you go. So, the Dick SUCC squad. What did you think of this draft for this season?
That was a pretty good draft.
Pretty good draft.
Yeah. It's nice. Yeah, pretty good team. You saw there, total domination.
Total domination, yeah. That's what we like to hear. Going into the first match, though, going up against, Master Splinter, Bessus One, some really good legacy players. What was the game plan going into tonight?
The game plan was, Splinter's definitely going to do his thing, He's going to start ganking one lane over and over. And then after that happened, it kind of just happened. We told him not to die to it, but he died. That's Freg, whatever. But the plan was to get me. I was not going to fight early at all. I was just going to farm it up and come back with 3 items, and then just destroy everybody. Pretty much it.
Well, that definitely went pretty according to plan for you guys. The Soraka there to bail you out in situations where maybe we would have in seasons past we would have seen Cameron get caught and died. Bring a Soraka with that doesn't happen.
Reformed.
On that note, speaking of the Soraka, I want to ask about Albino Joe real fast, since I assume you have a pretty heavy influence in which of the 2 support players and your team is going to be playing. Is Albino Joe pretty securely locked into the starting spot, or is there still maybe going to be some competition between him and Crescendo?
There's definitely some competition still. They're both good, but Albino Joe's just better all around the board on every single champion, pretty much. Well, Crescendo's good. His Zona's godlike, but it's like there's a pretty big difference between that and the other champions that he plays. So it's still toss-up, but Albino Joe definitely is locked in right now, I guess. But we'll probably try Crescendo some other time.
Cool. And so I guess that game was pretty clear cut, and I don't have too much to say about the game. So let's just move back a step further, go into the macro picture here. So, group play this season here for the first 3 weeks. So you don't play anyone in your group, and you only play the other teams. You already bested Master Splinter and the 4 Eggplants. I'm gonna look up who else you play here. Are on. So you're going up against Mr. Coffee, Dub Jump, Think Twice. You've already bested the Eggplants, and you go up against D20 and Kylie's Playground Pals. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at these rosters yet, but at least as far as the group stage go, which team, and it can even be a team in your group. So which other team in the league do you think can match up against yours in terms of skill?
I don't want to say like all these teams suck, but like Failed Destiny's team definitely I'm afraid of. Their bottom lane is definitely a force to be reckoned with, I'd say. And they have pretty good players all around anyways. So that's one I'm just scared of pretty much. There might be like a player who somehow exploits like our weaknesses or something, But that's pretty much who I'm scared of. Not scared of, but it's just
Yeah. Not scared, obviously.
they're strong.
Strong. Yes.
They're a good opponent.
Yes. Cool. Well, Swift, any last questions here before we sign off for the game 2?
No, I think we hit up on enough of it, so congrats on the first win, Cameron. Obviously, every win counts for a lot this season, and we will see you again, I'm sure.
This isn't the last of the Dick Suck Squad. There's only more in store. Don't you worry about it.
More sucking entails, and that includes bad players. So stay tuned, everybody, for game 2.